Welcome back to Voice of Africa. We are thrilled to bring you an electrifying update that is bound to stir pride in the heart of every African. A historic moment has just unfolded in Burkina Faso, and it's one that will echo across the continent for years to come. President Ibrahim Traoré, the young revolutionary leader shaping the future of Burkina Faso, has just made a groundbreaking decision, one that might very well redefine Africa's military future for generations. With unmatched courage and vision, Traoré has launched Africa's most advanced military college right on Burkinabè soil. Not in Paris, not in Washington, right here in Africa, and for Africa. This is more than just a school for soldiers. This is a blueprint for sovereignty, an institution built on African values, African history, and a pan-African vision. For decades, our military elites have been trained overseas in foreign academies like France's Saint-Cyr, the UK's Sandhurst, or the US West Point. They've been fed doctrines tailored to serve foreign interests, shaped to see Africa through foreign lenses, and often returned home disconnected from the realities of our continent. That era is ending. Traoré's vision is ushering in a new chapter, one where Africa trains its own commanders, develops its own doctrines, and secures its own destiny. This isn't just symbolic. On May 14, 2025, following a Council of Ministers meeting, the government of Burkina Faso officially amended the structure of its Ministry of Defense and Veterans Affairs to establish this elite military institution. Led by the Minister of State for Defense, Brigadier General Célestin Simporé, this move aims to train a generation of officers not only in tactics and battlefield discipline, but also in geopolitics, strategic command, crisis response, and the unique complexities of African security landscapes. And let me pause for a moment to thank you, our subscribers, viewers, and loyal community members. Your continued support, your shares, your likes, your comments, these are what keep the Voice of Africa growing stronger every day. It is your passion and belief in our message that fuel this journey of awakening and empowerment. Thank you for standing with us as we spotlight the heartbeat of a new Africa. Now back to this powerful story. What Traoré is building is not just a military academy. It's a fortress of knowledge, a center for African-led defense innovation, a space where future generals will study not just the tactics of Sun Tzu, but the legacy of Thomas Sankara, where maps of Africa are not divided into zones of foreign interest, but seen as a united terrain with shared struggles, terrorism, economic sabotage, imperialism, and internal destabilization. This college will empower officers who are connected to their roots, fluent in local languages, sensitive to the cultures they defend, and prepared to make decisions based on African priorities, not foreign partnerships. For too long, African soldiers were trained to suppress their own people instead of protecting them. Traoré is changing that paradigm. This military college is designed to instill a culture of service, where the gun protects the citizen, where the uniform represents dignity and not fear, and where the officer is trained to think like a nation builder, not just a fighter. And here's the most exciting part. This isn't just for Burkina Faso. The college will welcome officers from across Africa. Think about that. Officers from Mali, Niger, Guinea, and other nations will sit together, learn together, and forge bonds that go beyond national borders. They'll develop a shared worldview, one rooted in African self-determination and collective security. This could be the foundation of a continental defense ideology, an African military renaissance, born from African soil, minds, and dreams. Let's be honest with ourselves. Our current military systems are, in many cases, colonial relics. They're structured to mirror those of former colonial powers, reliant on foreign equipment, advice, and strategy. Often, they're more adept at following orders from abroad than responding to the real threats we face at home, whether it's insurgency in the Sahel, maritime insecurity in the Gulf of Guinea, or digital warfare targeting our elections. Ibrahim Traoré is confronting this head-on. He's breaking the mold. He's giving Africa a fighting chance to not only defend itself, but to do so on its own terms. The timing of this development couldn't be more crucial. The Sahel region is grappling with heightened instability, terrorist attacks, coups, mercenary operations, and economic interference. In such a volatile environment, this college becomes not just an educational facility, but a strategic stronghold. It is a direct answer to the growing need for a unified, homegrown response to threats that have long been manipulated by external interests. And the benefits go beyond security. Economically, this shift is smart. Training officers locally saves millions in tuition fees, travel, and accommodation that would have been spent abroad. That money can now stay in Africa, supporting local infrastructure, feeding domestic innovation, and nurturing academic ecosystems around defense and security. Imagine the research centers, defense analysts, policy think tanks, and military tech labs that could emerge from this initiative. Imagine the ripple effect across education, employment, and national pride. We're not just talking about bullets and boots. We're talking about books, ideas, leadership development, and intellectual sovereignty. Traoré understands something very profound. True power isn't just in tanks and fighter jets. It's in the minds that plan, the doctrines that guide, and the values that inspire. This is why the new military college is so much more than brick and mortar. It's a symbol of resistance, a monument to Africa's right to chart its own course. And there's historical significance, too. Let's not forget that Burkina Faso is the land of Thomas Sankara, one of Africa's most visionary and uncompromising leaders. Sankara believed in African self-sufficiency, unity, and pride. He launched vaccination campaigns, reforestation drives, and refused foreign debt traps. Today, Ibrahim Traoré is echoing that same spirit. He may not be building railways and planting trees, but he's laying down something just as important: intellectual infrastructure. Where Sankara was a revolutionary, Traoré is a strategist. Both are vital. Both are revolutionary in their own right. What Traoré is doing speaks to a broader yearning across the continent, a desire to be free from dependency, to build institutions that serve African interests first, to believe once again that our best minds can rise to any challenge. For too long, Africa has been treated as a theater of foreign agendas. It's time we flipped the script. And here's a question for all of us to reflect on. What happens when African officers are trained not in foreign languages with foreign frameworks, but right here at home? What kind of leaders will emerge when they are taught to think critically about Africa's post-colonial realities, to challenge inherited systems, to build new paradigms rooted in indigenous knowledge and shared experience? The answer is clear. We'll see a different kind of military, a different kind of leadership, a different kind of Africa. This military college could very well be the spark that ignites an entire movement of defense reform across the continent. Just imagine African nations sharing curricula, exchanging professors, collaborating on joint security strategies, and creating a new Pan-African military doctrine. A doctrine that isn't about domination, but about dignity. A doctrine that doesn't divide, but unites. Of course, there will be resistance. Anytime a former colony starts asserting itself, the alarms go off in places far away from the continent. There will be attempts to undermine this effort, to discredit it, to paint it as dangerous or radical. But that's expected. That's how you know you're doing something powerful. Burkina Faso is no longer a passive player in someone else's game. It's building its own board, setting its own rules, and training its own champions. And you, dear listener, are part of this story. By being informed, by spreading the word, by supporting platforms like Voice of Africa that uplift our narratives and amplify our triumphs. Share this video, talk about it, celebrate it. Because what's happening in Burkina Faso today might just inspire the next big leap in another African country tomorrow. So once again, thank you. Thank you to our members, our subscribers, and every one of you who believes in the African dream. Your voice matters. Your engagement matters. Every time you hit that like button, every time you comment or share, you're helping shift the narrative. And as always, stay connected with Voice of Africa, the platform where Africa's story is told by Africans, for Africans, and with Africa's future in mind. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an update on the incredible transformation happening all around our beloved continent. This isn't just news. This is history in motion. This is the rise of a new generation. This is Africa on its own terms.